It is comeback time, and this time around we are back in Hirscheck, our series that we have started last winter when the Europe pack was announced, and here we are back in this wonderful project that we all thought it has been abandoned, but it hasn't. Well, in fact it has, but the new DLC, which is not that new anymore, but you know, I've been to London and then I've been sick, so a couple of days delay, is actually the wonderful, perfect DLC for that. But we're not going to start for this reason with the DLC animal. We are starting with the free animal from the anniversary, which is obviously the red deer. Now, I just couldn't hold myself to finally doing something for the red deer, and today we're going to build like a little enchanted lake. There are a couple of things I have to mention during this build. So first of all, it's been a rather straightforward build. I sat down yesterday evening and I was like, okay, let's just start doing something and see if we can tie something together. And for some other reasons, or some awkward reasons, I just fell into a complete rabbit hole and finished that off, at least for the time being, because there are a couple of other things happening during the Hirscheck season 2, I want to call it. But there are a lot of things I have to talk about, because this build really turned out beautiful. And I learned so much about landscaping in the last couple of months due to several things that Frontier added to the game. So first of all, these stalagmites or stalactites, whatever these seem to be, they're just one in the game, but you know, turning them around makes them the other thing. So they act as a wonderful, cool new piece for like a, it's not really rock, it's almost like clay kind of texture, so it works really cool for these like kind of little riverbanks. And in this specific build, the lake should really be the centerpiece of the build, and the rest is going to be forest and nature and lush, and really something I don't really put like too much attention to, because I really want to make sure that this is for the animals solely. I looked at Google and Pinterest for some reference images for some enchanted lakes, like kind of deer areas, and really inspired also by the lake from The Prisoner of Azkaban from the Harry Potter movie, in which obviously Harry thinks he's gonna see his dad, but then again he sees himself because of time travel. And you know, you see the Patronus, which obviously is a deer or a red deer, which makes total sense. And that was just kind of something in my mind which I wanted to do. And I'm not sure if I took the image as a thumbnail that I made for that. Maybe I tried to, maybe I went for a more normal one, I don't know quite yet. But there is one image that looks really fantastic, and I'm going to share that on my socials, so you're going to be able to see that. But as you can see, this time around I really tried to make sure to work a lot with like rocks, and there's a certain technique in order to make that good, and I think I'm just going to make a little tutorial about that soon, to make really nice riverbanks and stuff, because that's something that hasn't been done as a tutorial. But I figured, because I actually had to learn quite a bit before I was able to do some really nice little riverbanks and lake sides and stuff like that do actually look believable rather than weird. And this time around I spent a whole bunch of time making sure to get the right angle to make it really go in. You can work yourself in with the Tiras tool, but the problem with that tool is that it always creates a kind of hard edge. But what you want to have with these kind of lakes and riverbanks is something really subtle, as if the water really drained a certain area around the bank, and then it just goes naturally down into the lake, and you have to follow certain rules to make that believable. And there are much better ways to do that than with this tool. So maybe if you guys are interested, make sure to put a comment down below in the comment section if you are interested in a tutorial like that to make really your riverbanks and your lakesides look the way I have it look over here, because I figure it looks really cool. It looks really good. It's a lot of trial and error in the first place, but if you have certain rules that you're gonna stick to, you'll become a lot better in no time. And I must say that if I do compare that directly to what I've done in the common deer area of this park, you can definitely tell how much of a progress I made in creating these things, because it really doesn't look the same. It doesn't look the same quality. I might have to go back and make that look a lot better as well. It's quite a bit of work, but it's definitely worth it because it makes things look so good. As you can see, in order to make these things like natural, you have to go in and use a lot of clutter, sometimes even more than you think you need to. And And I know the biggest issue is obviously it's gonna destroy the traversable area a little bit. Well, it's not going to destroy that, but the animals will start to float a little bit. That's a trade-off I do take in this specific build over here, simply because I want to make it look that enchanted. I try to also come up with certain little nature elements from Forrest, like a little pit over here in which we have certain things, and then I started layering the trees in a way that we have a certain nice background. This is a trick I learned from Silvered quite some years ago. He did use that in Planet Coaster quite often to create a believable nature background that technically isn't really a real one, but he started, you know, sinking in those trees to make some very lush areas, to also save some polies by not using too many trees. And that's the same thing I did over here to make it look like a believable forest, and I think it really turned out beautiful. As you can see, I'm also trying to play a little bit with the colors, setting some highlights here and there to have certain colorful elements, but then also to not overdo it, because it should be like a very subtle area. I worked a lot with the mist effect later on. I might have used it also in the forest as well to just create some more mist, but I think it looks really cool. It just really creates that enchanted little feeling, and you will see that in the real-time part. It really turns out beautifully enough. You can't go too lush in these types of builds, because the more you put in, the more it just kind of comes together. And the more I go back into the forest, it seems to be too little and not lush enough. And I will have to put certain things in a future episode. But there are some reasons why I will have to end it over here with the lake build today, because the whole area will look a little bit different once everything is in place. So that's the reason why I made sure today to focus only on the riverside, and then also have this tiny little area over here where the guests will be able to enjoy a little view of the red deer that lives in this area around the lake. We might also put some other animals in just to have some more animals strolling around in this area, maybe some cranes and stuff, just to give it a bit more life. But because it would be like a forest area in which they roam around free, and this is like a wildlife reserve, as I said last year. So in case you haven't seen the series, here's my recommendation to watch the whole series from the beginning, because people actually loved Hirscheck quite a lot, which at the time did surprise me quite a bit, but I'm still very happy that people enjoyed it so much. Also, I'm not sure if you have noticed that, but we are also having our wonderful, enjoyable little piano music back that we established back in season 1 of Hirscheck, and I'm still very much enjoying this every now and then. Also, as my voice is still not recovered, it helps to speak a little bit more lower and a bit more quiet and a bit more, hopefully for you guys also, a different pace at some point, to just sit back, relax and enjoy the episodes with a bit of nice music in the background. Hopefully my voice is still doing its job without even being too clear at the moment. I think it's gonna still take a couple of days until it's fully back on, but I think it's fine, as long as it's not scratchy. I think it's totally fine. The nosiness in the voice is, it's there, whatever. We have to deal with it. I have to deal with it. You have to deal with it. We all will get over it. I'm quite certain about this. But yeah, so last things we have to do over here is just like some cleaning up of the barriers, and then I wanted to copy over one of these little food stalls we are going to get over here as well, just to ensure that we have something. It's nothing crazy, nothing big, but I just wanted to have something down here as well, where people can grab a certain drink or something and then just sit down, because again, this is like a forest area, wildlife reserve. This is not a theme park, so it's more likely to have something like that only. But that's about it, guys. Yeah, time lapse a bit shorter today, but we are also having a little real-time part in which you can see the deers in action, and I really hope you guys enjoyed that one so much. I'm gonna hand you over to the real-time Rudy now. I hope he's nice to you. I hope you guys enjoyed it so far, and now make sure to follow the real-time Rudy. Hey there, and welcome to the really quick real-time part. Here we are now in the, semi-finished lake area, and as you can see, this is how it looks, and I'm just very, very happy with how it turned out. Look at that wonderful deer in front of us here, just enjoying its little time by the lakeside, really nicely. Look at that, just going down into the water. You see the other ones tolling around in the background. yeah, there are a couple of little things that don't really work as I hoped it was, like the decals, for example. They act actually like a solid bottom for them, as you can see. So they're walking on top of the lake. So I might actually get rid of these, which is a bit unfortunate because they look gorgeous. But if that's the, if that's the result, I should definitely change that. But look at that. Like I love how it just like, look at this shot over here. Oh, this lake just really turned out exactly the way I wanted it to. With this little pier, going into this area to have a little look. I think it just really delivers on what I wanted to achieve. I wanted to really have that lake over here as the main focus of where you want to go. It's almost like a little enchanted lake, and I really like the way it looks. I really like the way it feels. It was relatively quick done. I was quickly done. I was a bit confused by how easy it just went down my fingers, I should say. Really, look at that one. I just really love how they're just tolling around the water. It's looking at as if it's like having a little bath. There's another one coming over. Oh gosh, this red deer is just so well made. I really do love this model. Really do. Oops, there you go. They break their necks in there. Whatever. Let's go quickly out of this cam so you have a better overview of how the lake looks at the end of the episode. So this is the lake, how it looks. I'm quite a big fan of it, even though I couldn't really do much more than that at the moment, simply because there's a lot more coming to this very area of Hirscheck over here. And now you will see in the next episodes why exactly it's laid out the way it is. We are going to have a wonderful raccoon habitat. I think it's going to be here, to not promise too much. We're going to have another building. We're going to have maybe also a bat habitat. Who knows? And we are also going to have something with the skunk. And I also have some other animals on my list. Maybe, you never know. But I think it's going to be very cool. And then Hirscheck has a very valid addition to it. As you can see, I really made sure that it is added towards the back over here. Yeah, big fan of the series still. I really hope you guys enjoyed as much as I do, being back in Hirscheck for a little while. And yeah, that's about it. Finally, the name got its deserved inhabitant, I should say. And yeah, that's about that. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did enjoy the episode, make sure to hit the subscribe. I can't really pronounce that, but that button where you can follow this channel, the subscribe button. Thank you so much for doing so, because that helps me growing the channel. And also, yeah, if you fancy watching another video, yesterday we had a wonderful Zoo Sicily habitat build. I did a little oopsie with the upload, so the correct upload is now available. If you haven't watched this now, I highly recommend doing so. Other than that, have a wonderful time, stay safe, sub to the channel if you haven't already, and enjoy. Goodbye.